Hello and welcome to this month in car design. No, yes, it is. So it is this month in car design. No, it's not. It's boat design. Hello and welcome to this month in car design with me, James McLaughlin, you, Freddie Holmes, and you, Lucy Abbott. Welcome everyone to the monthly podcast. We're going to look back on the previous month as we always do. This month was a focus on colour, materials, and finish. We'll have a look back at some of the most interesting aspects of that monthly theme. And then we're going to chat a little bit about what's coming up and also where we've been, which is pretty much all over the place, including China and Milan for both Car Design Dialogues events.
And Warwick as well.
And Warwick and the mighty Warwick. I feel like there's another little place we've been as well, but I can't.
I went to Guildford.
Guildford. It's all very home counties and kind of West Country. And but first I'm going to start with a quiz.
Okay.
A materials-themed quiz, and it is called what I've dubbed the snappily titled Guess the Material game.
I assume we're going to insert some sort of funky tune to go over the top of this. A jingle.
Yes, we need a jingle. Paul Anker, give him a call. And these are some materials. I'm going to list them. They're all, one of them is real, the other are pretend, but they're all listed in our materials innovation roundup from Interior Motives. So you've got to guess the real one. And they are as follows: beer leather, vodka suede, brandy veneer, or whiskey wool. Which one of those is real?
Brandy veneer sounds like someone I want to meet.
Nice to meet you, Brandy veneer.
More a name, because I thought veneer is a thin bit of wood.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So unless it's a brandy coloured stain.
But it might be.
On the wood.
Okay.
I think I'm going to
What grain is used for brandy? What's brandy made of?
Don't ask me complicated questions of science, Freddie. Best guess.
None of them sound real, really, do they?
No.
I mean, you can use vodka to clean sort of stains. It has like a kind of antibacterial effect on materials, I think.
Lucy, I'm going to take that as your final answer.
And yeah.
Beer leather, vodka suede, brandy veneer, or whiskey wool?
I mean, whiskey wool for me. It rolls off.
It's just like the alliteration.
Yeah.
Well, you're both wrong. It's beer leather. Don't ask me how it works, but it is a material that's listed in our colour and from the Colour and Trim Factory, who do our materials roundup every month every issue of Interior Motives. If you want to know more about that, obviously get yourself a copy of Interior Motives. Don't honestly. No,
so it's a sustainable option.
It is. So
averaging beer.
Yeah.
And you need a sustainable, strong supply of this material.
I see where you're going with this, Freddie.
I'm lobbying for increased beer drinking, certainly among the team.
Sensible policies for a happier
to save the planet.
Yeah.
Drink beer, save the planet.
It embiggens you and your moralistic spirit. Any other materials interesting for you guys this month? I know there's a hell of a lot on the website of how people are using interesting materials and smaller companies as well.
There's a startup that's using persimmons, and I don't know if I've ever had a persimmon. Is it some sort of
orange things? I've seen them in M&S.
Yeah.
Are they a tree as well, though? I'm sure there's a tree, because they used to make golf clubs out of persimmon, like before they had...
Maybe the golf clubs were made out of the fruit. You don't know. But there's a startup that is using persimmon in some way to create a material. I need to do some digging to get more info. I should have done that before the podcast. So,
well,
I'll report back in a month, and everyone will be
a month late
on tenterhooks
when we've moved on to lighting, which is our next theme next month. Halcyon Resto Mod.
Yes. So I spoke. This is where I went to Guildford. I spoke to the head designer, Patrick, who had quite a kind of emotional approach to materials. He did a lot of these craft-based courses in Northern Ireland where he grew up. And he's really spoke about how he doesn't like forcing materials to do something that they don't want to do.
Oh, I see.
And you should follow like the natural lines and grains and that kind of thing. So yeah, he's very in tune with his materials, which I feel like it should be the way you approach it, right? To be able to kind of work with it rather than against it.
Yeah, don't fight nature.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a lesson there.
Put it on a t-shirt.
Yeah. Avocado agave treated leather, Freddie. I've got these notes down here. What's that, Pangeas?
It was indeed, yeah. There is, I wanted to make sure I got the numbers right for this.
Oh God.
But in Mexico alone, 530,000 metric tons of avocado pits, like the
Yes, the stone in the middle.
stone in the middle of it, to just you sort of put a knife in it and then twist it out. That 530,000 metric tons of those are discarded each year in Mexico.
So is that what they're using?
Yeah. And then globally, 10 million of those. But they basically break them down into the separate compounds, turn it into a biopolymer, and then use that to treat the leather.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. Is it? I suppose it's an all-natural process, or it removes some of the nastier chemicals that they do need to.
Exactly.
Right.
It looks quite impressive as well. I liked how they released it in kind of like a creamy green and beige, like you would get
in the
like
colours of an
actual-
avocado. Yeah, and there's a purpley green colour.
I like the purple.
Although when I first read the press release, I thought it was leather using the avocado skin, which sort of struck me as something I really don't want to sit on.
A knobbly seat.
Horrible.
Yeah. Well, I've had my own adventures in colour, material and finish. I went to see Bentley, and me and Abel Sampson, our venerable head of commercial development, we designed our own Bentley Super Sports. We'll chuck a picture of it on the screen. It was a really fun exercise, actually. Took the brand colours of CDN, sort of went through a few different iterations with Andrea Jensen, her visualization team. She's the head of CMF there in Bespoke, obviously. And we came up with I think was quite a good, the Super Sports itself is kind of a really Larry. It's a Larry sort of Bentley for a brand that's all about refinement. It's really sporty and kind of quite amped up. But I think we made quite a good fist of it. There is an article on the website. We've got Andrea to critique it or explain the process and then say why she thought it worked as a piece of branding.
They're quite complimentary about it, weren't they, actually?
They were. The only thing with the sting of the tail was from Robin Page, who said that Abel and James, need a makeover too, and then we're all good. It's like, I don't know how much. Yeah. Oof.
That's a body shot.
Yeah.
How long did it take you guys to configure?
Look, we were being guided by absolute, masters, so it didn't take very long at all. We were there for 20 minutes, but it was just playing around with treatments. We got the 99 on the grill, which was the founding year of Car Design News. So there's nice little kind of little references to the brand.
Named after the ice cream as well.
Yes, but there's nothing flaky about our design, Freddie.
No.
Did they tell you how much it would cost if you were to actually make it?
They did. Let's just say we came out of the higher end of the. But enough of my travels. What about you, Freddie? You've been to the Beijing Auto Show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was about as spectacular as you would imagine. I didn't realise until I got there, the existing hall that they've used over the years is already just gargantuan. It is absolutely enormous. The entranceway, I don't know if we'll put a picture up, but it's like this sort of portal to another world.
It's a huge, great thing. It's like an aircraft hangar.
Exactly, and it's barely used beyond having a few sort of scanning gates to go through. It looks like it could hold the show itself, but they've doubled it. They've basically taken that and then added another one. It's enormous.
Have you been to Beijing before?
That's the first time I've been.
First time
I've been. Feels quite different to Shanghai, which
Very
is where
different.
I was before, about 8 years ago. And I will say, I was. I mentioned this actually at Design Dialogues. I was car spotting this year.
Yeah.
I didn't really care. I didn't really look at anything around me last time I visited because there wasn't anything to look at.
Yeah.
There's nothing exciting. Whereas driving in from the airport, it was actually there's some cool stuff actually.
It's interesting to say that because the accusation that gets levelled is this homogeneity has crept in to kind of the Chinese car design. But
I think that is still fair.
Yeah.
But certainly, just from looking at stuff on the roads, it didn't feel as bad as I thought it would do. Put it that way.
One thing I noticed in Beijing, and you may have noticed the same, that there's more American cars like Buicks and things than there is in Shanghai.
It's bizarre, isn't it? I'm sure there'd be a reason behind that. Lots of joint ventures from years gone.
Yeah.
You see Buicks, Cadillacs, Chevys.
Well, historically, the Buicks was the prestige brand in China, and I think just basically by virtue of where they are, and compared to Shanghai, it's a lot more outward looking and more open to the world. Whereas Beijing is I know it's the capital, but it is kind of a lot more. What's the best way of saying it? Chinese in some ways, and there is a long legacy there of Buick being a kind of prestige mark in amongst lots of homegrown car makers.
And there was a big stand actually at the show for Buick, and
they're doing great work out there.
Funky sort of windowless concepts.
Yeah,
on show that was.
Yeah, I noticed last year last year in Shanghai, their stand was good actually.
Yeah.
I thought there's some really interesting, very sculptural sort of form languages going on there. Notable cars. The Freelander came back as a brand, which I thought it's come back as a brand in a sort of collaboration with Chery.
That was quite a cool launch for me, because I remember when I was a kid, I had a little Freelander toy that I used to play with in the dirt. So seeing the Freelander name come back,
cool moment then.
Yeah, it feels very nostalgic.
Didn't the Land Rover and Range Rover designer Phil Simmons? He's behind the brand design. I think I read that.
Ah,
So they kind of like nodded to the heritage in that sense,
Yeah.
which I think is quite important to do, considering it's such a massive one.
I think they've made a fair fist of it, to be honest. I've only seen the pictures, but it looks all right.
I thought side profile. It does look all right, but I thought side profile immediately Santa Fe, the current gen Hyundai Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some similarities there.
What was the general feel of the journalists?
Yeah, what was the reaction like?
Yeah, what was the reaction?
Well, I didn't actually go to this. Guy went to this. Guy Bird, our long time.
Right, yeah, Guy was there. Yeah. He
He seemed to like it.
Yeah.
I think, which is strong praise, I would say.
Yeah, he did, and it was interesting because it was like we were a bit lukewarm on it when I was briefing him to sort of what to cover when he went out there. And he said, "Well, I'm going to pop along to this Freelander thing and see what it's like." And then he called me up, of course, and said, "It's actually worth some coverage."
And it's called the Freelander 8.
Yes,
So
and
Freelander is the brand.
Yes,
No.
yes.
And 8 is the model, which is.
I forget what they call the concept. It was there too as well in a kind of turquoisey colour. You see it on the website. It's a lead image, but
Sometimes seeing things in person is so different to seeing it on
wildly
an image.
different.
So I can understand why maybe skeptical at first, and then after you're kind of like, actually, yeah, this is good.
What else was there on the show then, Freddie? There's a few. They've got a few listed here.
Yeah.
Some of you've given some interesting nicknames.
One I didn't note down is there were 2 Peugeot concepts on the stand. They
Mhm.
look brilliant. I can't remember the names, but I'm sure type in Beijing Peugeot concept, it'll come up. Shoot and brake one, that was brilliant. Yes, there were a few that stood out. One of which I coined the Decapitator 5000
Great.
because it has no windscreen or pillars. It's just imagine a Riva yacht,
Yeah,
and that's quite the compliment. It's not as
I was going to say that sounds
No.
amazing.
and put some wheels on it. It's that. I did some digging. I thought this was some sort of radical concept. I don't think it is. It's the Lantu Taishan X8,
Mhm.
which is a full-size SUV. So I think what they've done is lopped the top off
Right.
to better show the interior.
It was like a display.
But it's perfectly finished. It's not, there isn't just sort of serrated metal where they've got a hacksaw and
Well, you'd hope not for
No.
baby.
So that immediately stood out to me. And then there were lots of Dongfeng cars. Their stands were absolutely huge. The Mengshi M Hero.
Oh, I know the one you mean. Yeah, that looks like if you touched it, you'd cut yourself.
Yeah, it's just angles galore.
Mm.
They had another one called the EQ Reborn, which has this sort of silver metallic space, kind of like your shoes, Lucy, spacey feel to the interior. Reminded me of the Mercedes C111.
Right. With a bit silvery, kind of
Silver,
like space agey, sort of with
yes.
the orange. Yeah.
Although
you.
I think you saw this as well. It's been compared to the Scout, sort of China's.
Oh, interesting.
The kind of front end and the flat sides. There's been a few articles floating around comparing it to the Scout,
Mm.
but it's supposed to be an homage to a military vehicle, isn't it, from the 70s? That's what I read.
Right.
That's their kind of backstory.
That's
of
it.
but
That's it.
There's a lot of talk
Right.
elsewhere.
And I suppose that's an interesting point, Freddie. Did you feel like there was a lot of derivative work there, or were we seeing some newish stuff? I saw a hell of a lot of cars, coming out on social media from your pictures at the show that look a little bit kind of Porsche, and I think we know which type of Porsche
Yeah.
we're talking about.
I think there's definitely still some homogeneity going around, let's say, but I don't think we're quite in full copycat mode as we used to be years gone by. I will say I spoke to Fan Zhang from GAC, who, as always, totally transparent, really honest,
Very candid,
very candid, and also always wears a suit very well, I think.
Sure does.
He essentially said, look, there's so many options on the market now. Consumers have got, they're spoiled for choice. However, most of them look quite similar. So where are we going to go with this? Do you know what? There was a quote from that chat that stood out to me. He said, competition is severe, which is quite a strong word. Style-wise, things are looking quite generic. So we don't want everything looking the same. So
quite honest. Then.
it is. It's an admission. Yeah.
They've become very, very good at a type of car, like a fastback, a Ford fastback. Well, very clean, sort of sculptural, sort of almost blobby surfaces. I think they're basically doing what sells, I suppose, or not, as we think. I think they've probably reached saturation in the market, haven't they?
Yeah. I saw tons of sedans on the road as well. It felt like sort of 70% of the cars on the road were sedans.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just a Beijing thing or...
I think you see more in Beijing, but sedans historically have been always a prestige kind of typology there, whereas they're almost out of fashion. Although we did mention last month, was it the month before, Ralph G was saying, like, the sedan is coming back. Oops, just whacked the microphone. The sedan is coming back, but then I haven't seen that many of them, so
soon.
Maybe that's a wish list.
And there's normally some weird things at these shows. So what was the weirdest, wackiest kind of
that
you saw? There was something about a fluffy wardrobe.
Fluffy wardrobe, nice to meet you. There was a 5 meter tall fluffy wardrobe with a fluffy microwave on top. Again, kitchen, bedroom combined. I don't.
Maybe living room interiors.
And there was with a fluffy lobster and a fluffy burger. I mean, it's all seamless, really, and
I
don't know. The meaning behind that is totally clear to us all. There was also a sort of inflatable elephant just kicking around at one of the receptions.
What, just loose?
Just loose. Yeah, I didn't really understand that. But.
Main takeaway, I guess, from your point of view, Freddie?
From the show?
Mm-hmm.
It's massive. I think if you have support behind it, the traditional motor show still works.
Yep.
And it's all in one space. So when you go in there, you're in, you're out, it's done.
Yep.
Whereas with the sort of the city motor show,
which
IAA is kind of a blend of the two.
Yeah.
Milan is very spread out. You need more time, don't you? We didn't see as much as we wanted.
Well, that's it. I mean, that moves us seamlessly to Milan, Car Design Dialogues Milan, which happened in the same week. It's a pretty intense week for you, Freddie. But that is much more what we're talking about. Although there are a cluster of kind of automotive things going on down in Tortona in Milan, it is all spread out.
I want to hear about the Play-Doh car.
Yes.
Yeah, well, you were in Milan with Skoda.
Yes, I went with Skoda, who revealed their Epic Sculpt concept, which is basically an Epic, but with like a Play-Doh-like exterior, almost like you got different colours of Play-Doh and just like blob them on the outside, which is quite fun. We were all given Play-Doh, and we had to make these sort of like kind of weird creations that then they brought to life on screen, kind of like floating across the screen.
Okay.
But yeah, obviously we couldn't bring any of the Play-Doh back through the airport, because apparently it's considered an explosive, which I never knew before.
Jeez.
But anyway, so
learning things about Play-Doh that I'm rethinking my entire
next year the TNT car.
Yeah. But yeah, I got to speak to Klaus Elmer, who's the CEO, and he's very keen on design. He sort of said you need personality and identity. Technology isn't enough. I think the whole kind of takeover of this whole Palazzo just showcased their commitment to design. They obviously invested quite a lot of money in it. There were a lot of influencers there. There was a small group of journalists. There was kind of like a ball pit and a slide, and all of the British journalists just immediately threw themselves down it, to the horror of the influencers standing around us.
Trying to be cool.
Yeah.
The British car journalists were all tanks up on Prosecco and jumping in a ball pit. I love it.
Living up to the cliche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we did have one comment which made me laugh a little bit. It was a private message, sort of DM, when we posted the story. Just simply said, "Why?" And I guess there is this element in Milan. It is about the spectacle and the Instagram moment, and to cut through the noise, you have to do something quite memorable and outrageous. And whether
Yeah.
that is a Play-Doh car or, some kind of moody sort of atmospheric installation.
Yeah, that was sort of similar to Kia. They had two different installations, and I found myself at the kind of more sensory installation, I think they called it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was to showcase their opposites united design language. But you were kind of welcomed by these people in white lab coats. You go in, and it's really dark. There's like a canyon room where it's sort of white soft carpet, in the middle, a small lake, and then sand. And I was kind of like, it was quite
Sounds
dark.
like a
I was like,
fever
"How do I
dream."
get out?" Yeah. It was quite intense, but like you said, I think you have to do something a bit weird.
Yeah, you do, because I mean that's it. You're not gonna, like Freddie says, the Beijing car show is a traditional car show, so everyone's just going to look at the cars. In Milan, you're competing at all sorts of installations, from furniture, from
Yeah.
hotel sort of activations. Audi they did a collaboration with Zaha Hadid. I didn't actually get to see it, as you said, we were in and out super quick. But it was a big sort of blob of very Hadid style sort of architectural.
UFO.
Yeah, it looked like a
Yes.
UFO basically. And they take over the same palazzo or piazza every year, and it looked pretty Instagram worthy, kind of fun. I was at dinner with one of the Audi designers who had to leave at the end of the dinner because the light sequencing had gone wrong.
Oh, no.
So I think it was fixed by the time everyone got there in the next day. But it was one of those. I guess it goes with the territory. One installation I went to go and see, which was the only thing I got to see aside from our own car design dialogues event, which we'll get to in a minute, was the Lexus. The Lexus installation, and I thought it was brilliant. Like Lexus have been going to Milan for a long time. I think one of the really early adopters. They do this Lexus Design Award. They have done this Lexus Design Award. This was a really, really. I mean, queue up to get in. Once you were in, there was these kind of collaborations, the little kind of, not booths, but little areas. The first of which you crawl inside, and it was supposed to replicate a sort of Japanese tea room, and it was like being in a box. Mirrors, and it was quite zen-like. But the best one was this piece of kind of clothing infused with all these kind of LEDs, like fiber lights, fiber optic lights, and you could get in it and sort of move around, and it was amazing. It was just absolutely stunning.
I
Stunning.
feel
to
like
look
we've
at.
covered that in Interior Motors before as part of the CNT Trend Factory.
Oh, the
Sure, they did a piece on
technology.
wearable lighting.
Yes, this is what
Aside from just draping yourself in
it's,
sort of the Christmas fair.
Yeah, no, but it was much more. It was quite serene. It almost felt like these ceremonial robes that you could sit in. I didn't realize that until someone got in there and started getting in it. I was like, oh lordy.
Maybe you weren't allowed to do it, and they just
Yeah.
No, I think you
Because
were. I
on-
think that was my idea. But anyway, that was really good show from Lexus, I thought.
the big brands put a lot of effort in. The Hyundai one
Yeah.
was pretty extensive. You had
Mhm.
it felt like there were several buildings sort of linked together in a maze, and they were showing the Ioniq 3.
Yeah, it was
which
the
is
3. Yeah.
production version of the Concept
Mm-hmm.
3. Weirdly, the production car came before the Concept, so the production car was ready. That was done,
Oh, that's
and then
nice.
they sort of reverse engineered it to make it sort of a bit more concept-y, and
Oh,
it was backwards.
it's almost like told in flashback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the production car was already ready, and so when they showed the concept car a while back, people were saying, "Oh, it's never going to look like that." Okay, well, we've already done it. One thing with that, actually, quickly, it's called the Aero Hatch, and they're really pushing this. Simon Loseby is really pushing this.
The idea of the
The
aero
Aero
hatch.
Hatch, and I love it. I love that idea.
Yeah.
However, to call it that, I felt you needed to be a little bit sleeker, a little bit lower
More
to the ground.
aero-like.
Yeah.
And there was quite a big gap between tyre and arch, which just gave the appearance of something that's a bit more rugged.
Mm.
So I mean, it looks good and it's close to the concept, but if it's an aero hatch, I was hoping for something a little bit more streamlined, almost like the Ioniq 6.
Still, I like the idea of something called the aero hatch, or a typology called an aero hatch.
Yeah, all in.
In terms of car design dialogues, Freddie and I, we hosted those. Lucy, you were a kind of onlooker for some of it.
Dropped in.
Yeah. Well, I guess.
Very influencer of you.
Yeah. I think you have
get the merch.
Yeah, get the tote, hit the road. Well, I really enjoyed it. In terms of highlights, I mean, there are all so many really great conversations, so many inspiring words on subjects of CMF in terms of designing with emotion, which is one of our topics. I think my standout for me, just because I'd not met him before, but Angelo Nivolo, the head of Ferrari exterior, he was fantastic, and he whistle stop 15-minute kind of presentation about how you design a Ferrari, basically.
That's 50 slides.
I know, yeah. He sent 54 slides, but he went through them to his credit very quickly. But he came up with a Gustav Mahler quote, which I'm going to butcher now, but it was tradition is not the worship of ashes, but the preservation of fire, which is a romantic. Mahler was a composer from the Romantic era, and I thought, this is a good thing to live by if you're Ferrari and any brand like that wants to keep innovating and moving forward.
And it reframes this sort of idea of just clinging on to the past
for
the sake of being romantic.
Yeah, and the venue itself.
Oh, amazing! Looking over the Duomo.
Yeah,
yeah, that was nice. And we were very lucky with the weather as well. Glorious sun for 2 days.
I felt very glamorous standing on the roof of the Piazza what was it? Terrazza Martini.
Terrazza Martini. Yeah.
Yes, it was pretty impressive.
I got to top up some of my sunburn as well, so that was nice.
Important.
That is helpful. Okay, well, on to people news. What's happening in the world? Who's the movers and shakers? I've got one, but I'll let you guys.
Ludwig Cruz, who is now the Jeep interior chief. He was promoted from lead design manager at Stellantis.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we had a really great reaction on LinkedIn. Still getting reactions.
Popular, yeah.
It's crazy.
I love seeing that.
It's nice, isn't it? It shows they have such a strong community, which is really important.
That's right. You see sort of this outpouring of support from loads of other brands as well. So you imagine it's sort of old school friends. And
yeah. You forget how small the community is. Actually.
Yeah,
they all study together, know each other.
One move that stood out to me was John Sars, who, when the Nissan Latin America studio closed, it's obviously displaced a huge number of people. He led that studio. He's since moved to Nagoya in Japan as a program design director. So that's nice to see him.
He's still continuing.
Land back at an OEM. He's got some pretty good experience.
So where is he? Where's he gone? He's gone to Mitsubishi? No.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. So he's gone Nissan to Mitsubishi. Yeah. But he's ex-Ford, Daimler Chrysler, Mercedes, Nissan. And I believe he has had a previous stint at Mitsubishi as well. I'll double check that. There's a big move as well.
Move was, we knew about this and we sort of sat on it for a little bit. But Kamal Kurik, formerly of Ford, Lincoln and then Ford Performance, but he's now at McLaren as their I think they call him the Chief Design Officer. But we knew he'd left Ford in January, but he was cagey about where he was going. We were sort of taking a little bit of a sweepstake. Okay, where will Kamal pop up? And then we got the grapevine sort of. Does a grapevine tremble? I don't know. Anyway, we heard.
First time.
We heard that he was going to head up, McLaren. I think it's an interesting move. He's worked at scale before, but he was very good on the Mustang. His Mustang was a really lovely piece of kind of. He brought some subtlety back to that nameplate where it had gone down a bit more of a brutal sort of muscle room in previous generations, but he really understood the sort of pony car origins of it. But Lincoln, he was there for a while, and he was really. I mean, the main thing about those is the interiors. Like he's going from sort of mass market brand to much smaller volumes. But he's a great designer, so we'll see.
Exciting to see what comes from that. Really, I suppose it'll take a while for
no, absolutely.
to see the results of that.
But good luck to Kamal there.
It was actually a relatively quiet month for People News. There were some sort of entry level moves.
Yeah, there were quite a few
as well.
entry level, but I think January and February seemed to be quite,
New year,
new
job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't you guys get any ideas? You're here for life.
We missed the boat there, didn't we?
In terms of things of note, I've got my queue here, but I back in January, I went to see Brian Nesbitt, the newly minted VP of Design at General Motors. We had a long interview to profile him, but it was quite interesting because he was quite open and revealing about his kind of his backstory, which I don't know how well it's been covered over the years. Sort of a little bit, but yeah, he was like a true sort of child of the '60s. His mum was a kind of hippie, had hippie commune tendencies. I think he actually lived in a commune at one point after his parents' divorce, but was inspired by his dad, who was in advertising, had the Hot Wheels account in LA, and used to bring these little cars home. But it was really interesting to sort of hear this kind of personal backstory from Brian, who we know from very famous designs like the PT Cruiser, and his work with Cadillac recently. But the fact that he was on the kind of mammoth road trip from a very young age in an AMC Gremlin, I just find that fascinating.
What a car as well.
I know. So that's on the website at the moment. We've published that now. But he's a big picture sort of systems thinker as well as a kind of instinctive person. Again, similar to in a similar way to any sort of design director, you come in, there is a long tail, before your influence is felt, but we'll see.
Yeah, I thought it was a really interesting read. There was a quote that
Thank you, Lucy.
to me. You're welcome.
It says here.
Yeah, it says to praise James at any given moment. Yeah.
He said "death by 1,000 cuts," which I feel like was quite an interesting quote.
In what context?
Because he was like, you have to understand how car design works within business.
Yes,
specifically,
100%.
And I guess like the relation of that, and when you're working at that level, I guess there's connected.
It's a really good point. I think he learned it from he joined. He was fresh out of college and went to the Pacifica studio and started working on like Dodge Vipers and things like that, which is an amazing sort of baptism. So I think he's very well aware of. If you compromise too much, slowly but surely, the kind of product declines.
Right.
So hopefully he'll be fighting the corner. I'm sure he will. Brian will be fighting the corner for design. Quickfire round. What's a quickfire round? Kia EV4. Guy Bird has been driving around on this, but he really loved it. Like he quite liked.
We did the hatch and the fastback version.
Yeah.
And sort of did them back to back, didn't we? Which is a nice thing to do if you can get that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I right at the bottom of the piece, there's a quote from Karim Habib that describes it as polarizing. It sort of recognises that the fastback is quite a quirky silhouette, really, and the surfacing is a bit out there.
Yeah,
but I think it's and Karim echoes this, sort of says it's worth it. It's worth taking
100%.
that risk. Be
big bold. I think this is what we need. It's like designing with a bit of emotion. If you get it wrong, so there are consequences. Yeah, obviously you get it wrong. You want to get it right, but at least you're trying to make a statement. And I think playing it safe. It's not the moment to play it safe.
No, I went to Paris to see Gilles Fadal, and he had a similar sentiment. He said we need to deliver iconic products that kind of trigger that love at first sight, which is an emotion. He was referencing the polygon concept with its kind of hyper square steering wheel, and sort of was like, we will be delivering more things like that kind of innovate and that are different. And he was really excited to get stuck in from the sounds of it.
That's a cool concept. I really like it. The polygon. That was in China as well, actually.
Yeah, I think this idea, it did come up again and again at CDD Milan, didn't it? This idea of designing with emotion. I spoke to Lawrence van den Acker, actually. He swept in as a sort of rock star designer. He's not like Shades Indoors type of rock star designer, but he's a very, very well respected and big name, obviously overseeing all those all the brand, Renault, Alpine, Dacia. And he was talking about the idea of designing with emotion, trying to kind of capture something that pulled at the heartstrings, and that's going to be the success. That alongside making small cars affordable and great. They've just launched the Twingo. I think it's really nice treatment of that. I did a longer interview with him, which we published very, very soon. So keep your eyes peeled for that, because they've got a new brand strategy with the incoming CEO. So yeah, I think that will be interesting to watch.
Well, sticking with small cars,
Yeah.
For some reason I attributed this to you, but it was actually Mike Nash that was in.
Oh, is it in Spain, wasn't he?
For the Cupra Raval, I think, because he went to another Cupra event.
Also, I've got the Cupra Raval on test whenever
There we go.
I can have it, basically.
Yeah.
So that's why probably associated with me.
But that's quite a cool.
I look at you and associate you with Cupra, Lucy.
Is that a compliment?
Well, maybe it means you're a lot younger than I am, and I could never be.
Okay.
I could never. That brand would not sit well.
Anyone
on me.
younger than you, Cupra.
Yeah. You look like Cupra drivers to me,
Yeah.
youngsters that you are.
Do I strike you as a Cupra?
No, actually, no, Freddie. I'm sorry to say. Maybe it's the beard. I don't know. Yeah, small cars. Honda Super N K car.
Yeah. This was unexpected to a degree, but also not, based on the fact that they've done these K cars before. It was inspired by the City Turbo of the 80s, which had. I mean, it's a great name, isn't it?
Wasn't it taller than it was long?
But that's characteristic of the K car.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
segment,
but with a turbo attached.
With a turbo attached, yeah. Turbo is probably bigger than the engine, I guess. I would have liked to see some funky decals on the Super N.
Restrained.
Maybe that's on the way. That's a very small car. The very big car is the Project Nightingale.
The Rolls-Royce.
Rolls-Royce.
Yeah, this was interesting to me because it signalled almost a coach building sort of bespoke approach. I know they do very small volumes anyway, but this was, I thought, interesting for that reason. I mean, it's quite a stunning piece. Oh, and it had Art Deco references, Streamline Moderne references. You know, it's worthy. It's a showstopper, certainly.
It reminds me of. Have we got the interior motives issue here? No, we don't. It reminds me of the Cadillac.
Oh, I know the one you mean.
Velocity.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Velocity. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one with the kind of that came out in the yellow and
Exactly.
Yes.
It reminded me a little bit of that.
It's got that Cadillac had sort of French Riviera vibes, didn't it? But I think, yeah, this one had jazz age.
Definitely
vibes.
jazzy. Yeah, when I was going through the images, I was like, can I just put them all? I mean, we did it as an image-led article in the end because the images were so strong.
Mm-hmm.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Okay, Hyundai Venus.
I think it's just the V now. They've called it the Hyundai.
I like Venus.
Sort of back slightly.
China only.
Yeah. It's super wedgy, super bronze, sort of Gandini-esque, unexpected. What segment would you say it is? It's kind of a sedan-ish. It reminds me a little bit of the Honda 0 Series saloon.
Oh, the concept
from front and from the front and side at least, not so much from the rear. That's not a bad thing. It's a great looking car. So that was a nice thing to see, actually. They just keep on bringing out different design languages, don't they?
It's SsangYup's kind of chess piece strategy along with Luke Doncroft, I suppose, is they don't really adhere to a different typology. Can have a different segment can have a different design language if they want or not. You know, it's kind of.
It's that freedom. I guess why not? If you can do it, then why not?
Yeah.
And we've got our chess piece strategy, haven't we? We've got the bishop here.
Yeah.
What are you do?
I was trying to crowbar that. Yeah, I don't know what the rook.
I see you more as a knight, Freddie.
Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a compliment.
Yeah.
I see you was a queen.
How dare you? What's coming up then, ladies and gents?
well, next month we're focusing
Lighting
on
focus.
lighting,
Yeah.
which will be good.
I think we'll find that most illuminating.
Yeah. Maybe you can get that
Cut the
jacket.
podcast there.
So yeah, so we're looking for lighting design. We're gonna see who's doing some interesting work out there. I've got or reached out to a few OEMs. Yeah, I mean it did come up in the CD Milan, but Bentley described it.
It's an extra material.
Extra material
lighting.
light. Yeah.
Yeah. You can kind of see it behind you there.
Yeah.
I think
Oh.
Mhm.
maybe. I don't know.
So lighting. Lucy, are you off to Coventry?
Yes.
As our sort of higher education correspondent.
Yeah, apparently so.
You seem to fall into that role.
Yeah. So I mean, that's always quite a good show, isn't it? There's an energy about it as well. They're all quite excited to show what they've got to do. But yeah, if it'd be interesting to see what they present. I mean, last year I think the standout for me there was this hearse design. It was like an old.
Oh yeah. No,
I really liked that. It was a bit morbid, but it was so like beautifully done that you could kind of overlook.
But you've got a dark soul, Lucy.
I must do. Live streams.
Yeah. Look, well,
Yeah.
we have a lighting themed live stream with OLED Works. Freddie, that's on you, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That's on the 20th of May.
Tune
And
in.
it is specifically on OLED. So I look forward to learning what that technology is.
Okay. Also, actually, speaking of lighting was one of the most hard-fought categories at the People Awards last year. Just remind you, listeners, to get your teams entered into the People Awards. It's open now. Links on the website. So yeah, we'll look forward to seeing some of your work soon in lighting and elsewhere.
There's about 13, 14 categories, so plenty of options. Maybe more,
true.
actually.
And that's it, I think, for this month. I can't think of anything else.
Well, importantly, will we have another quiz next time?
I will do my best. I mean, I don't know, what were your feelings looking back to
we both
25
got
minutes
it
ago?
wrong.
Yeah,
Which
I
was
thought-
quite demotivating.
We need a redemption
Yeah.
arc, don't we?
Maybe we need to do
It's a hero's journey for both of you. Some kind of redemption arc.
We're gonna flip the script.
Are you going to ask me
We're gonna
questions?
ask you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm happy with that. Surrendering power. Anyway, if we can, yeah, let's do another quiz next week. Maybe we'll chuck a poll out there as well for you guys listening. Okay, well, that's it for this month. Thanks very much, Lucy.
Thank you.
The Bishop Abbott and Freddie.
Come on.
I mean, I know it's Sherlock Holmes, isn't it?
It is.
Freddie Holmes.
Or Ferdinand. That seems to be
Ferdinand
your
Holmes.
go-to.
Yes. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you then.